I'm at the UK headquarters of Allucent today. Allucent is a global contract research organisation, and in the UK they're based just outside of London. I'm here to meet some of their experts in drug discovery who help young biotech companies navigate through their clinical trials. And I'm pleased to introduce Teresa Nunes, who is Chief Medical Officer of Allucent. Teresa, it's great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I'll also start off by saying that Allucent is a sponsor of Biotech TV, and we're very grateful for the support over the last couple of years. But for those of you people who are not familiar with the Allucent story, just set the scene for us.
Yeah. So Allucent is a built-for-purpose CRO. We have a full service capability, which means that we support not only from early stage prior to clinical studies and through drug development in terms of clinical development trials from phase 1 to phase 3, and also post-marketing services. And given our global coverage, we have presence in more than 70 countries. We're able to do also big studies, phase 3 studies, which is also good. Again, full coverage.
And tell us about the role of Chief Medical Officer.
As a Chief Medical Officer, I had the group of MDs, the Medical Affairs Group, and I also had the Pharmacovigilance Group that supports not only pre-clinical stage and the post-marketing drug safety and the pharmacovigilance.
So Allucent covers lots of different therapy areas. You help your clients across lots of areas. Tell us about your coverage.
We do have what we call ACEs, Allucent Centers of Expertise, and within the ACEs we have not only project management, but also biostats, regulators, ex-regulators that work with us in drug development consulting, and MDs that support different therapeutic areas. Our core therapeutic areas are oncology, immunology, and inflammation. We also support rare disease, infectious disorders. We do have a rare disease group, an ACE group, and also cell and gene that goes across the therapeutic areas, and also a neuroscience group, which I also am a part of, given my past in neuroscience.
So neuroscience is an area where expertise is definitely required. There's been huge, exciting scientific advances in the last few years, but I think there are a lot of unique challenges. Tell us about how Allucent helps clients there.
So it's a very interesting area. A lot of development has happened, but it's still a very complex area given the central nervous system, not understanding but pathophysiology, also again mechanisms of disorders are still not necessarily understood, which makes it hard to know which targets to use, which drugs to develop, and also the blood-brain barrier is a big hurdle, which also means that we have to have novel ways of targeting the brain. And in terms of our team, we do have a team that supports with the preclinical part, which is not only developing the studies that are needed, but also understanding where to target, how to develop the drug, and that's very important for us. And we support our clients there. And then we continue to support them with the clinical stage, because there are also several hurdles that are linked to the clinical stage. It goes from the lack of validated biomarkers that can also be used as surrogate endpoints. We also have several constraints related to the clinical endpoints that are very subjective, and then that means that we need to have rater training. And given our experience, Allucent has done more than 700 projects within neuroscience and been in more than 2,000 centers. We use the expertise to streamline as much as we can the drug development within neuroscience.
So have you got any examples of how you've helped clients to bring that to life?
Yes, we have two recent examples which I think are very distinct because of the phases where we supported our clients. One of the studies was early phase, where they had to do the decisions in terms of dosing. There are a lot of failures in later stages that are linked to badly done those decisions. and we help them to understand how to design the study, not only to give them the answers that they are looking in terms of choosing those, but also giving them some signals in terms of efficacy. And that's very important. We work with small to mid-sized biotech companies that are looking for funding. Of course, for them it's important to have these signals early on because it's going to drive the funding. So we supported them with the development of the protocol. We went for an adaptive design. We also included clinical pharmacology modeling simulation to understand the PK-PD relationship, also understanding which biomarkers in this disease, which is a rare disease within neurodegenerative, there is biomarkers that can be used. And again, we already set the stage for their later development, also thinking about other ways of adapting the design. The second example is later stage in an area within neuroscience where there is a huge placebo response. So we worked with the MDs, the project management team, to create training for sites to minimize the placebo response in terms of setting expectations on how the interactions between patients and sites should happen, with the objective of, in that study, to, as much as possible, minimize that. And we also, because there are subjective endpoints and questionnaires, we also developed a rated training material, and during the study we also looked at the questionnaires, if there were deviations that we needed to cross correct and go back and train the sites on that.
So in this neuroscience area, the support must be important at every stage of development for companies who've perhaps it's their first time into the clinic. But even at the regulatory stage, it must be very important to know what the regulators are looking for.
Absolutely, and I think that's an area where we can also very well support our clients, because internally we do have ex-regulators that now work with Allucent. They have, and they are part of our staff. These regulators come from the bigger agencies like FDA, AMA, but also from the local regulatory agencies. So they bring the perspective of the regulators that are going to approve the drugs, but also from the day-to-day when we have a study that we need to submit. And we also have this expertise. As I've said, we have worked in more than 700 projects within neuroscience, and we use the expertise that we gain. A lot of the expertise in neuroscience is not necessarily out there, it's not published, so you have to have this inside knowledge to be able to adapt. And one of the important things that our ex-regulators also bring is that, given the inside knowledge, they know the routes that clients should use, the mid-sized companies and small ones, in terms of when to speak with the regulators, which normally is early stage, what to add in the package that they are submitting, because that also increases the chance of approval, and every minute counts until time in the market. So I think that expertise that we bring, not only from our own knowledge but also from our team with the ex-regulators, is very important for our clients to know how to navigate this.
So this sounds like a very comprehensive offering of support throughout the stages in neuroscience. Is this something that other CROs offer?
I think we are unique because we do have, not only, as I said, the internal expertise that comes from the years and the projects that we have been involved, the ex-regulators, but we are global, which means that, and we normally say this, we are big enough to deliver, but small enough to care. And the ACEs are also part of this offering that we give to all our clients, because we always bring to the table the experience and the people that have worked within neuroscience, that can, from the early stage, which might be preclinical, clinical, with the client, develop the best strategy. And the best strategy might be, again, regulatory strategy, it might be site identification, patient engagement, which is also very important, site engagement, and this holistic approach that we bring to the clients. I think it's very unique on Allucent.
So for small companies approaching the clinic, in the clinic, getting it right the first time is important, but in an important area and complicated area like neuroscience, speak to the experts at Allucent. Teresa, thank you very much for running through that, and Teresa and her team are always here to answer any questions from Biotech TV viewers, but Teresa, thanks for introducing Allucent to us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
At Allucent, our singular purpose is helping small and mid-sized biotech companies bring new therapies to light globally. We are Allucent. Our focus is you.